So many of us grab those sugar-free foods, and we think, yep, I'm making the healthy choice here. But what if one of the most common sugar substitutes out there is hiding a pretty serious risk? Well, a brand new lab study is making us ask some pretty tough questions.
Right, let's dive into what I'm calling the sugar-free question. We're all trying to do the right thing, you know? We're at the store, we're trying to cut back on sugar, but the real question is, are we just swapping one problem for a totally different one?
You know the feeling. You're in the aisle, you pick up a low-cal drink or maybe a keto-friendly snack. You flip it over, see that beautiful zero sugar label, and you feel good. You think you've cracked the code, but is that really the whole picture? Researchers are starting to think maybe it's not.
Okay, so let's introduce the star of our show today, erythritol. This stuff is everywhere. It's a type of sugar alcohol, and it's become super popular for a few really good reasons. It has basically no calories, it's almost as sweet as sugar, and this is the big one, it doesn't spike your blood sugar. That's why it's the go-to for all those keto, low-carb, and diabetic-friendly products. Seriously, check the labels, you'll find it in everything.
Okay, so this is where we get to the heart of it. A new study just dropped, and while it's definitely not the final say on the matter, it's for sure a major warning sign. It's something we really need to pay attention to.
So what did these scientists actually do in the lab? It's pretty fascinating. They started by taking cells from those teeny tiny, super delicate blood vessels in the human brain. Then they put these cells in a dish and exposed them to about the same amount of erythritol you'd find in just one sweetened drink. And after that, they just watched to see what happened.
And what they found is, well, it's a lot to take in. They saw 4 major changes. First, they saw more oxidative stress. Think of that as just general damage to the cells. Second, there was a drop in nitric oxide, which our bodies need to help blood vessels stay relaxed and open. Third, they saw a jump in something called endothelin-1, which does the exact opposite. It forces blood vessels to tighten up. And finally, there was a decrease in a critical enzyme that helps our body break down blood clots. Yeah, not a great combination.
Okay, so all of that happened to cells in a petri dish, but what does that actually mean for us, for a living, breathing person? Let's connect the dots here.
When you take all 4 of those things together, you've got cell damage, blood vessels that can't relax, other things telling them to constrict, and your body can't clear clots as well. It all points to one really critical problem.
And that problem is impaired blood flow, specifically in the really delicate network of vessels inside our brain. And when blood can't flow freely, it can't get vital oxygen and nutrients where they need to go.
And so the bottom line conclusion from the researchers is this. This exact combination of factors could, potentially, lead to a higher risk of stroke. That is a really serious conclusion, and it's exactly why the study is getting so much attention.
All right, now before we go any further, and I mean this, it is absolutely crucial that we put all of this into context. This is the part where we all have to be really smart and responsible about how we interpret science.
So let's be crystal clear here. What this study is a warning sign. It's an early signal from a lab. It was done on isolated cells, not on actual people drinking stuff every day. And most importantly, it is a call for more research. Now, what it is not, it's not definitive proof that erythritol causes strokes in humans. It's not a huge clinical trial, and it is absolutely not the final word. Think of it as just one important piece of a much, much bigger puzzle.
Okay, so with all that important context in our back pocket, how do we actually move forward? What do we do with this information tomorrow when we go to the grocery store?
The advice here is really all about cautious moderation. It probably makes sense to think about cutting back if you have a really high intake of foods with erythritol. And if you already have risk factors, things like heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure, it's worth being extra careful. Looking for alternatives? Things like stevia or monk fruit might be okay in small amounts. But you know what? The best choice, the gold standard, is always going to be prioritizing natural, whole foods.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Maybe it's that the giant, flashy, sugar-free promise on the front of the box isn't the whole story. This new research kind of suggests that it's time for all of us to just flip the package over and start paying a little more attention to what's really on the back. What do you think?